Okay, that is now central. You guys have complained, it's central. If it doesn't look central, it's the wide angle lens. I can't do anything else.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
Yes, people, welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I hope you're doing well. Really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News, of course, the daily, that's right, daily series here on the channel where I reflect on what's being said about Chelsea, giving you my opinion on it for whatever that's worth, and more importantly, as always, asking for yours. Chelsea fan wars gate is heating up, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, we heard the Chelsea Supporters Trust speak their truth towards the Chelsea owners. We spoke about it here on the channel. They claim we are heading towards potentially an irreversible toxicity within the Chelsea fan base. But FAB, that's right, the fan advisory board put together by the new Chelsea owners have hit back. And they've come out with their own statement. Today we'll be citing an article from Simon Johnson of The Athletic. He's taken portions of their statement and given us an idea of what's going on, who's saying what, and why they are saying it. It's the international break. Alright, strap yourselves in. Thank you for joining me. If you do want to support the content, you're welcome to. It's super simple. You just drop a like, subscribe, hit the bell if you choose to subscribe. And if you like my content and you think some other Chelsea fans, or indeed maybe non-Chelsea fans might like it, then why not share it, because that's really kind of you. And hey, in a world where people just are cruel to each other all the time lately, why don't we do something nice? Alright then, let's get into it. Johnson writes this: a growing sense of division within Chelsea's fan base took a fresh twist today with the club's fan advisory board criticising the letter released by the Chelsea Supporters Trust last week. Chelsea came under more negative scrutiny after the Supporters Trust put their recent correspondence with the club into the public domain. In a strongly worded letter addressed to the co-owners Boehly and Ighbali, they claimed the bond between fans and the club was the, quote, lowest since the early 1980s. That there was a, quote, fast-growing lack of trust due to severely limited communication, and warned it could result in irreversible toxicity with more targeted chanting and impactful forms of protest. Just want to stop there. I support the Chelsea Supporters Trust. I feel like it's very important that this sort of like fan-led group can speak what they feel. It's very important for all football clubs, wherever you are on the football pyramid. But I did find this a little bit weird, that the lack of communication from the club and fans. I mean, I think the CST were saying like towards the fans at large globally on digital media, because one of the like USPs of the new regime was to have fan opinion on board. Of course, we've got Finkelstein and Barbara Sharon on the Chelsea board, and there is this fan advisory board. But I don't want to speculate what they mean exactly, but I feel like it's the communication at large to Chelsea fans everywhere. Hey guys, we're the sporting directors or owners or whatever, and this is what we're trying to do. It's not been very good at the moment, but fear not. We have a plan. You know, that kind of thing. Let's read on. FAB, an initiative set up by Todd Boehly Consortium comprising of 7 lifelong Chelsea fans to improve communication between the supporters and the club, have released a statement making it clear they do not agree with the Chelsea Supporters Trust's version of events. It said, quote, bluntly, we don't recognise the suggestion that fans are not being involved in the future of the club. This goes directly against our experience. So off the bat there, they're coming in strong with a right hook. Significantly more resources have been allocated to fan liaison than any point in the club's history. Before the fan advisory board was created, there was 1 part-time employee devoted to supporter liaison. There is now a department which will number 4 full-time members of staff. Contrary to what has been suggested, these facts give a full and proper picture of what is going on. It's like they feel quite strongly about this. Chelsea's Fan Advisory Board is a pioneering effort created around a year ago to ensure that the fans' voice is listened to across the club. The Fan Advisory Board ensures it's very broadly in touch with supporter sentiment to collect and present these views very directly to the club and its board members. Well, at the moment, you don't really need a fan advisory board to gauge the mood of Chelsea Football Club. Just go to a recent match day when it's not been going well, or take a dive into Twitter, or X, whatever it's called now, which I wouldn't recommend, but there's some opinions on there. The club is aware that while the fan advisory board is constructive and understands the realities, we are also challenging. We make our own views known forcefully, we achieve real change, we work and will continue to work on that relationship. As part of their messaging to Chelsea, the Chelsea Supporters Trust argue there should be a much broader consultation with the fan base over key issues such as ticket prices and what plans the owners have for Stamford Bridge. The point was stressed further by the Chelsea Supporters Trust chairman Mark Meehan after being left disappointed by a response from the original letter from Chelsea chief executive Chris Jurasek. Yeah, 100%, I completely agree with this. This is what the Chelsea Supporters Trust is all about, protecting the Chelsea fans, ticket prices going up, not much explanation about what's going on financially, and I totally agree. The response from Chris Jurasek didn't really say anything, you know, so yeah, I get it. To add an impression of a lack of agreement among fan groups, Meehan is also part of the fan advisory board, and yet the fan advisory board's statement continued to distance themselves from the Chelsea Supporters Trust stance. Hold on, this guy's playing both sides. Yeah, that's going to be an awkward, meeting when Meehan meets, or Meehan, however you pronounce his name, meets back up with the Chelsea Supporters Trust, and they were like, you've been on their side. They continued at Chelsea Football Club's last main board meeting, which was on the 11th of March. Co-owners Todd Boehly and Bedad Iqbali directly and in person asked the fan advisory board to help shape the club's proposals in relation to ticketing, and we have been working on exactly that. We have had multiple sessions with the club's executives to work through potential proposals and provided the data to help substantiate any potential changes, so whilst the precise content of these meetings must remain confidential until any decisions and changes can be communicated with supporters, the idea that fans are not involved and not at a decision-making level could not be further from the truth. I mean, they sound super angry. And this will be coming from one's cynical instinct to be like, oh, this is like a anti-Chelsea Supporters Trust Chelsea briefing, but there is a fan advisory board with Chelsea fans on, and this is them talking, saying, yeah, we speak to the owners all the time, you know, we're working together, and Chelsea has never had this before. We've never had this level of communication and collaboration with the Chelsea fan base. This is novel. But are we feeling satisfied? I'm going to get to that in just a moment. Football is a matter of opinion, and expressing emotion is part of that, but we have to get behind our team and make our contribution to victory rather than seek chaos and division through attacks and campaigns. The only people who benefit from Chelsea fans turning on Chelsea are fans of other clubs. If we're pulling in the same direction, then, quote, every little thing is going to be alright. Fan Advisory Board also made it clear how they hold regular in-person drop-in sessions at the T-Bar at Stamford Bridge, and there'll be another one just ahead of the Burnley game on Saturday. They had to put that Bob Marley line in, it's just so vom. Look, generally, broadly, I agree with the whole I did a video on it a couple of days ago, let's avoid the Glazers out culture at Chelsea because it will just provide long-term destruction without making any benefit to Chelsea Football Club. Also, I mentioned how Chelsea as a team are very young, impressionable, vulnerable young footballers that need support for their development from Chelsea fans. You know, when I use the Glazers out as an example because when they score a goal, they chant, "We want Glazers out," for more effect. Imagine, you know, Whisper gets a start for Chelsea, scores his first goal for Chelsea, and they start singing about protests on the owners. How is that going to be a nurturing, developmental thing for a young player? I'm just really mindful of this. Of course, I was speaking in the video, was it the day before yesterday as well, about I'm not sure Chelsea owners can sell. It was confirmed to me afterwards, so I changed the name of the video and pinned a comment. The Chelsea owners are legally not allowed to sell their shares for a decade after buying it. 10 years. They're also not allowed to take any dividends and money out of the club, like the Glazers did. So people forget about that when Rain Group sold Chelsea. Todd Boehly, Clearlake, you're not allowed to make any money personally out of Chelsea for a decade, and you're not allowed to sell Chelsea for a decade. Because Rain basically had to choose the best buyers, not the highest bidder. Say Todd Boehly, Bedad Iqbali said, look, we're good guys, we own sporting, teams, we know about Premier League football, we're going to expand Stamford Bridge, we've got property experts. Rain might go, okay, Todd Boehly and Clearlake, you're the best candidates, you win, and then they just immediately flip it to Qatar for an extra $500 million because Qatar wouldn't have passed the approval test by Rain Group. Do you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So they were blocked for selling Chelsea for a decade. And, they say they're in the long term. Look, I'm not happy. I'm trying to be a realist here about what's going on. And in regards to the Chelsea Supporters Trust and Fan Advisory Board communication stuff, whatever. Look, I think it's good there's a Fan Advisory Board. Has it paid dividends and positive stuff for Chelsea? I can't see anything yet, but I'm glad it's there, because it being there is better than not being there. But what I think, and almost certainly what the most of you think, is it's the communication at large of the plan, the project. Look, I have a great deal of empathy for the ticketing. We're still in a cost of living crisis here. That needs to be communicated and navigated between the Fan Advisory Board, the Chelsea Supporters Trust, and Chelsea. They need to sort out the expenses of, a Chelsea experience, and that will be navigated, hopefully. But generally, and more broadly for the Chelsea project, what's going on, what's the plan here? Like, we hear from third parties, like, Project 2030, we're bringing this in, the idea is with these long contracts, and we've got this long-term vision. Great, but we want to hear it from the horse's mouth. Do you know what I mean? I don't know about these Chelsea sporting directors long term. I've got my own reservations. They may stay, they may go. I know more and more staff's coming in. Maybe the odd person will get pushed out after a while. Who knows? As we settle more and more, hopefully settle more and more as a sporting institution, as a completely reset club. But communications to the fans is like, I'm not a big fan of Jim Ratcliffe for a multitude of reasons, but at least he sat down. I know he's come out, it's been largely a PR exercise for himself. But maybe just something like, look, Chelsea, they're a great team, we understand the fans want to be back here. It became unsustainable for this reason, this reason, and this reason. We want to rebuild back there in such a way it's sustainable so we can be at the top for a long time. And we should be at the top. Bowley said it himself. London's the best city in the world. Chelsea's in the best part of London in the world. We've got the best real estate, the European pedigree. Chelsea's going to be at the top. Yeah, it's all talk and words for the moment. But while we've had such a long, bad period domestically in terms of performance and developmentally and, some toxicity in the fan base, there needs to be communication. I'm sorry, people who are poch in, poch out, clear lake in, clear lake out, whatever your stance, I think one thing everyone aligns on is they want communication from the club for a plan, and we want to win, and we want the team to do well. And because they can't sell their shares for another 8 years, you got to support the team, man. That's the way I see it personally. Anyway, I do find this kind of stuff interesting because I'm a football nerd. What do you think? Comment down below. I want to thank you for joining me today. It means a lot. I appreciate your support. Drop a like if you're pleased. I straightened out the silver play button for you for everyone who was mentioning it. So thanks for liking and subscribing. I hope to see you back here very soon. Take care of yourselves. Peace.